What's crack-a-lackin', homies? I'm the Tech Prepper. Hope you're all doing well. I think somebody put something in my coffee this morning. I don't have any notes and I'm a little bit behind on things, so we're going to do this without any kind of real prep and go into it cold. So I want to do two things today. We're going to continue our series on DMR, and I'm going to cover the AnyTone 578 mobile rig, and I'll talk about why I bought it, how I plan to use it. But to make things real fun, I want to take it back to the root of this channel, or the roots of this channel, and that is this idea of Manpacks. So I'll throw up my 5-part playlist for those of you who are new to the channel. But we're going to talk a little bit about the old configuration of the Manpacks I've been rocking, plus a new one for the AnyTone 578. Now, these are just going to be my experiences, my point of view, but should be fun, so stick around. It really is one of those mornings, so I'm going to try to use less words today. So let's start out with the reasons why I bought the AnyTone 578 mobile rig. So it's a dual band rig, so it supports UHF and VHF, but I bought it for many of the same reasons that I shared on why I bought the AnyTone 878 handheld radio. So number one, I bought these to kind of work together to solve different communications problems. So this one's designed to give me a little bit more range and power and more capabilities than the HT on its own can provide. So obviously this is a analog and DMR radio, so it solves that need for me to have a transitional radio while I'm going from analog into digital, and that gives me some interoperability with the digital scene. Number two, this is a Part 90 radio, which means it's for the most part fully unlocked for those two bands, which means if I needed to, I could have interoperability with some of those other services, regardless of what the regulations state. So that's FRS, GMRS, MERS, and a handful of other ones. The other reason why I got this radio initially was for the AES 256-bit encryption, where you can actually control the keys within the software. Now, I have a business license now, so it's completely legitimate for me to be able to use in that capacity, but the fact that this radio actually has that feature built in and ready for use was a big compelling factor. Now, there are two other features that I really wanted that really differentiate it from the HT, and that's the ability to provide a little bit more range. And that's not only related to power, but it's related to two modes of operation we can put it into. The first is crossband repeat, and I've done a video on this in the past, but basically what that means is since this is a dual band UHF-VHF radio, we can have it listen on UHF and retransmit on VHF or vice versa. So the use case for that is I'm walking around the house, I'm running this on low power, I can't get to my buddies out in the field, but I have this connected to the antenna on the roof. So I can transmit on one band into this guy, and this will transmit on another band, and then vice versa. So it's almost like a poor man's repeater. I have oversimplified it, but crossband repeat is another feature that I wanted to have as part of owning this radio. Now, the other feature that I want to have is something that we are going to explore, and it will likely be the next video in the series, and this idea of single frequency repeater on the DMR side. So with DMR, we actually on a single frequency have 2 time slots. So we basically get 2 channels on the same frequency. So the goal here is to put this in a mode where we can use time slot 1 to receive, time slot 2 to transmit. So for me, where I only have 5 business frequencies, it's actually kind of cool to be able to have the support. So we're going to get into that in the next video. I'll talk about why I'm doing that in more detail, but bottom line, I bought the AnyTone 578 to really give me a little bit more capabilities than the AnyTone 878, but it actually is part of the same kind of suite of capabilities. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the output power capabilities of this rig. So this has support for 1 watt, 10 watt, 25 watts, and then 50 watts on VHF and 40 watts on UHF. So plenty of power, and depending on what type of application I'm gonna run the Manpack in, I will use a different power level accordingly, also for safety reasons. So keep that in mind. So let's talk a little bit about the Manpack and why it exists. So I did not invent this. This idea of Manpacks has been around for a while. In fact, I'll throw up a video on the screen where I started to do a 5-part series, and we'll also include that at the end of this video. So yeah, the military has been using Manpacks for a while. Basically, they would strap one of these to their back. The radios have gotten a lot smaller, as you can see with the AnyTone 578. But really the core idea here is that we have the ability to have a fully self-contained system that includes the battery and the antenna system in a really nice package. Again, I have been favoring my design of the Manpacks. I really like that I have the battery in the front of this compartment, the radio easily accessible on the top here. And then for the record, the AnyTone 578 actually does run in this configuration too, and that's actually how I prefer it, but I want to show you a new one just to keep things fun and interesting. For those of you who have not seen this idea before, it's actually kind of nice. There's internal cable management on the inside, so I've got the hand mic here. We can actually just turn on the radio by turning on the power, and then we drop the antenna where appropriate. So I've got HF capabilities and VHF capabilities. And then this radio in particular has a small battery on the front that's sized specifically for this output characteristics. We're not going to get into heat and all that stuff. I've talked about that in previous episodes. For me and my style of operation, heat buildup is not a problem because I go for targeted combo windows, and I typically do those targeted combo windows in environments that are in excess of 100 degrees, and I've never had an issue. So bottom line, this is kind of the original Manpack that I have been running now for a while. I like it. It looks like a goofy lunch pail, but it's very easy for me to transition from the house to the vehicle. So actually, let's pause there. So the cool thing about having a Manpack is that it also eliminates the need for having multiple radios. So rather than bolting this radio under the seat of my Jeep, for example, and then having to buy another one for the house, it really makes it easy to just take this, drop it on top of the bench there, drop the antenna, and start operating. Likewise, if I have an antenna that's mounted on the Jeep, have the feed line coming into the cab, all I have to do is drop this into the cab and start operating. All right, so obviously this is going off the rails a little bit. Like I said, I usually prepare notes. So let's talk about the new Manpack. So one of the challenges I have when building Manpacks is finding the right bag to fit the radio. And I don't quite have the right bag for it. I am running the PRC 117 golf pouch from High Ground Gear. I was using this bag previously for larger radios like the Yaesu FT857 and 891. There are videos for that as well on the channel. So finding the right bag is of topmost concern. You can see right here that we have a little bit more length of the radio that sticks out of the top, but you could still bring over the strap to secure it down, and it has plenty of MOLLE, for example, to attach to other gear or to attach other gear to it. So I like to run like M4 magazine pouches here to run things like the hand mic. So the bag is important, and that's why, like I said, sometime back, a little over a year ago, I designed this bag that had all of those features, right down to a U-shaped zipper so I can access the rear compartment, antenna flaps to get to the antennas here on the back, pass-throughs for cable, all kinds of stuff. But for right now, I'm using off-the-shelf bags, and this is that PRC 117 golf pouch. What makes this kind of fun, we're going to pull this whole thing out, is this new design. And this new design actually came to me from the guys over at armoloq. So first and foremost, let's power it on so you guys know that it actually does work. So we're booting up. The DMR radios take a little bit of time to power up. Yeah, there's the logo. So anyways, we've got this self-contained unit. It's mostly protected. So to start with, it's running the armoloq TPA pack frames. These are the same frames that I've always run with all of the other radios. The only difference is that now we've got integrated power here with this new battery compartment. If I don't mangle the name, this is the MBS 1280. And the reason why it's the 1280 is that it models the size group battery. So to break this down, really simple, we're gonna take the clip off. This will just move backwards, and there's actually a, you guys can't see it from your vantage point, but there is a Anderson power pole mount in here. So on the inside here, there is the traditional M-app mount from armoloq, and it allows us to thread the power that's coming out of the radio through the battery lid and mount it here for quick disconnect. And then we have the strap for retention to hold the battery compartment. The battery compartment here actually is running a, this is a real snug fit. I love stuff like this. We're going to leave it in here for right now. But this is the battery compartment. It is made out of Kydex, and the only thing that I've done to the Dakota 10 amp hour lithium battery in here is I've put some electrical tape around it, mostly because this Dakota battery uses the spade connectors, and I wanted to protect any movement from the battery from compromising those spade connectors possibly coming up. So bottom line here, this is a new configuration for me where I'm running the same radio that would normally be in my smaller Manpack in a stacked vertical configuration. So this is a more classical design that I think a lot of people will actually really enjoy. Let's talk a little bit about the battery and battery power. So one question I get asked a lot is, how large of a battery do I run? So for Manpacks, like I said, I have 3 different use cases. The first one is man portable. That's where I probably put it in my backpack. Second one is transitioning it into the vehicle and running it mobile. And the third is running it in the shack behind me. And that's to reduce cost, be able to be familiar with that radio and really trust the equipment because I'm constantly using it. So when I'm running it in the pack and man portable, and it's on body for safety, I will run this radio anywhere from 1 to 10 watts, no more. So with 1 to 10 watts, the current consumption is fairly low. So this 10 amp hour battery will have more than enough current and runtime to make it work. These Manpacks are not designed for traditional amateur radio rag chewing. In my mind, the way that these are set up and the intended purpose is to communicate, break it down, and move on. So man portable, on body, 1 to 10 watts. And I actually do like that this AnyTone 578 has those 2 settings. It's really nice to run it on low power. So on 1 watt, if I'm at a high point, I have more than enough coverage and I can conserve more of this battery. If I need a little bit more power to get out there, 10 watts works fine. Now, if I take it off body and plop it maybe at a campsite somewhere, I'll bump it up to 25 watts. The 10 amp hour battery has more than enough current to be able to support that, but I'll change out like the traditional whip antenna, which, hold on a second here. Yeah, so I'll run a modest whip antenna when I'm running it in the kind of man mounted position. This is the Comet BNC24, but you can run like the Aubrey antenna or whatever the heck you want for the most part. But when I deploy it like off body and I want to run 25 watts, I will bring with me the Edfong roll-up J-pole or the N9TX roll-up J-pole, throw this up on a tree or bring my mast and be able to do it. In fact, this is the configuration that I will run when I'm at events. I was recently at a ham fest where I took a 2x2 receiver hitch flagpole mount, dropped my mast, put this guy on the top, and then I dropped basically the 578, but in the small Manpack configuration on a chair, and was able to use a full 25 watts. So like I said, I normally don't do 50 in the field, mostly because I don't feel comfortable drawing that much current on these batteries, although the Dakota lithium iron phosphate battery will do continuous current of 20 amps, so it probably is very capable of doing that, but personally I wouldn't run it. At the house, I will run a little bit more power if I disconnect it and hook it up to my AC mains. That's it pretty much for kind of power. Again, I prefer small combo windows, selecting the power, current consumption and power level that is appropriate for the intended mode of communication and depending where I am in the field. So in terms of being able to use this, the AnyTone 578 comes with a hand mic. There is a RJ45 connector, so you could slot that in. And again, for the Manpack configuration, you can take like any type of magazine pouch and run the mic off the side. What I have been experimenting with is the AnyTone BT-01, and this is an accessory for the AnyTone 578, and it is a remote hand mic and head unit for the AnyTone 578. So it has the ability to have the speaker, PTT, full keypad. You can change your zones, do all of that good stuff. So with Bluetooth, we only have 10-meter range, so about 33 feet or so. So it's actually great that I can actually have this mounted here in the house and then sit across the room and just have the remote hand mic, speaker mic at my disposal to listen. I can go make coffee and kind of walk around in short range. In fact, I did use this when I was at the Hamfest recently, where I was working my station and then had the full 25 watts connected to the Jeep. So it's your preference on how you want to run the hand mic. Again, in the older configuration, I was just storing the hand mic inside inside of the battery compartment. So guys, this is really just a sneak peek at kind of what I'm doing with the AnyTone 578, how I plan to use it, and really my early thoughts on how I'm configuring the 578 with a new vertically stacked configuration. Actually, before I close, one thing I do need to solve with this that hasn't been solved, you notice that we've got the attachment point here for the Anderson power pole for power. I need to outfit this one to basically do some sort of Y connector so that I could do ease of charging in the field. So as a man-portable operator, I do charge from solar quite a bit, and this configuration doesn't allow me to do it. The other Manpack and the other batteries I typically run have a secondary cable in the form of a barrel connector, so I can easily just plug that into either AC mains or into my solar charge controller in the field. So yeah, I'm gonna probably be looking at a couple of different options in the future to have a second pigtail come off here so that I can charge without having to do the battery disassembly. Yeah, this was kind of a quick video I put together based on time constraints, no notes, so apologies for it being all over the place. If you do like these videos, I encourage you guys to hit that thumbs up, subscribe. But if you really like this content or want to find out more about the Manpack, check out this video. This is a 5-part video I did from beginning to end on more details on why the Manpacks and 5 different builds. And then if you guys want to see my favorite video of using a Manpack in the field, check out this video. I'm the Tech Prepper. Be strong, be safe, and be prepared.